My story unfolds in the heart of a serene city, where the air was always tinged with the aroma of blooming flowers, and the sound of children's laughter filled the atmosphere. Our home, a charming two-story abode with a white picket fence, exuded an old-world charm that resonated with the calmness of the surroundings. The streets, lined with quaint lampposts that flickered to life as dusk settled in. My name is Emma, and I was the youngest member of our family, barely 6 years old at the time of that chilling night. My elder sister, Lily, was 10. She, always the responsible elder sister, took care of me like a second mother. Our parents, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, were the embodiment of love and care, pillars that supported our small, happy family. My father, a warm-hearted man, was working at a local bookstore. Our parents showered us with love, their nurturing presence making our home a sanctuary of warmth. But one night, the tranquility shattered, leaving an indelible mark on my young soul. It was just like any other ordinary night. Lily lay peacefully in her slumber, completely oblivious to the world. A sudden, jarring noise startled me awake. For a moment I lay still, my ears tuned to the silence. I attempted to rouse Lily from her slumber, but my efforts were in vain as she remained lost in dreams. It wasn't long before my curiosity overpowered my fear. With trembling limbs, I crept out of bed and tiptoed towards the source of the sound. A sliver of moonlight illuminated the room. As I peered from the staircase, my breath caught in my throat. A sinister silhouette of a person loomed on the other side of the glass window. I instinctively hid behind a nearby corner, my wide eyes fixed on the intruder. In an agonizing heartbeat, he struck the glass with a force that the window shattered into 1,000 glinting shards, scattering like diamonds on the floor. I was consumed by a surge of fear, paralyzing my every muscle. With a speed born out of sheer panic, I raced back to our room, locking the door with trembling hands. I listened, my ears attuned to the symphony of dread echoing from downstairs. The intruder's footsteps and furtive movements filled the house, growing louder with each passing moment. I held my breath as the ominous sounds approached our room. My heart pounded against my ribcage like a desperate prisoner, knowing the inevitable was drawing near. The doorknob twisted slowly, its movement magnified in the silence of the night. I watched, my eyes wide with terror. I wanted to call my sister, but my voice caught in my throat. I dared not make a sound. Time stretched into an eternity as I stayed under the bed. Eventually, exhaustion took its toll, and I drifted into a fitful sleep under the bed. When I awoke in the morning, I found myself back in my bed, Lily's protective arms around me. I didn't know how or when she had moved me, my heart still echoing the frantic beats of the previous night. As my mom entered our room, I spilled the harrowing tale of the intruders, the shattered glass, and the paralyzing fear that had gripped me. To my surprise, my mother's comforting words fell like a soothing balm on my fears. "Nothing was stolen, sweetheart. It might have been a bad dream," she said, her voice carrying the reassurance that only a mother's words could hold. Descending the stairs, I was greeted by a sight that further confounded my senses. The window, once a canvas of destruction, now stood intact, its glass unblemished as if the events of the night were a mere figment of my imagination. In a haze of confusion, I questioned my parents about the events. They denied hearing any noises, their brows furrowed in concern. Desperate for clarity, I turned to Lily, hoping for an explanation that would dissolve the fog of uncertainty. With a heart pounding with uncertainty, my voice laced with a desperate need for answers. "Didn't you move me from under the bed?" I asked, hoping for a sliver of truth in her eyes. "Why would I do that if I had the whole bed to me?" she stated playfully. Could it have been a dream so vivid that it felt like reality? Time ebbed away, leaving the memory of that terrifying night etched in the recesses of my mind. Months slipped by, and I almost forgot about that experience. On a night cloaked in familiarity, the dreaded noises returned echoing through the halls of our home. I found myself in a nightmarish loop, reliving the same chilling events that had terrorized me before. Beside me, my sister lay in a peaceful slumber, seemingly unaffected by the impending horror. As I attempted to move out of the bed, my limbs heavy with dread, desperate to escape the clutches of the nightmare, Lily's sleepy voice sliced through the darkness. "You don't have to go outside. You are going to see the exact same thing happening again." In the silent depths of the night, I was trapped within the suffocating embrace of a nightmare, its tendrils tightening around my consciousness. I knew, deep down, that it wasn't real, but the terror it invoked felt painfully genuine. Desperation drove me to try every conceivable method of escape, from pinches that left bruises on my skin to desperate jumps within the dream, hoping the fall would jolt me awake. Yet all my attempts were futile against the relentless grip of the nightmare, leaving me suspended in a surreal and terrifying reality I couldn't escape. In the grip of fear, I reached for a pen, its sharp nip digging into my skin. I hoped the pain would jolt me awake. The intruder persisted, approaching our room. This time, my mind faltered. I had forgotten to lock the door. What if it is not a dream? What if they will come inside with some sinister intention? Terror washed over me like a tidal wave, driving me once again under the safety of the bed. As the intruder's hand gripped the doorknob, my heart hammered against my ribs. But this time, even though it was not locked, the door refused to open. It stood firm. A surge of relief washed over me, dispelling the nightmare's illusion. Logic prevailed. My brain was giving me reason to believe it was a nightmare. How can the alarm is not on if they broke the glass window? These were enough reasons for me to convince myself that it was a dream. I crawled into my bed and slept this time. I was terrified, but I knew it was a dream. Morning's light brought a calmness, dispelling the horrors of the night. I descended the stairs, my steps heavy with the weight of uncertainty. The house bore no marks of intrusion. The only exception to this was that in the morning I saw the lingering pen ink on my hand where I poked myself to be able to wake myself up. If it was a dream, then how can those ink marks be there? I knew it was not real, but not a dream either. To this date, I don't know what was real and what was not. The passage of years did little to unravel the enigma that had once terrified me. Instead, it transformed into a mystery, a story woven with threads of fear and fascination. As I grew older, the incident that had once terrorized me became a source of intrigue, a puzzle that teased the corners of my memory. The unanswered questions became a fascination. If you enjoyed my roller coaster of fear, confusion, and fascination, give that like button a good old poke, just like my pen did to me. And of course, hit subscribe, because who knows what bizarre dreams or entertaining stories my brain will conjure up next. Stay weird, stay curious. Catch you on the flip side, dreamers.